Alright, what is up folks? So in this video I'm going to discuss what is possibly the single deadliest day in the history of humanity. And unsurprisingly, this took place in China. Although the Chinese people and the government has nothing to do with it. This was a natural disaster that took place on January 23rd of 1556 in the central Chinese province of Shanxi. Now, in terms of the magnitude of this earthquake that struck central China, this was not by any means the strongest earthquake. It was estimated to be 8.0 on the Richter scale. However, the shocks of this earthquake was absolutely devastating. It's estimated that roughly 100,000 Chinese people was instantly obliterated by the earthquake. And the natural disasters immediately followed the earthquake, such as the flood and the famine that followed would go on to kill another 730,000 people. So the estimated total death toll from this earthquake is estimated to be at 830,000. And if this figure is anywhere near accurate, this would mark the single deadliest day in the history of humanity. Now here's something quite interesting, okay? So the earthquake took place on January 23rd, right? And 464 years later, world's first ever COVID lockdown that happened in Wuhan, China, that also started on January 23rd. So perhaps this means Illuminati is confirmed. Perhaps it was a sign of things to come because just 3 years after this 1556 earthquake, a man named Nurhaci, he was born in northern China. And many historians do believe that Nurhaci was the first ruler of the Qing Dynasty in China, even though he did not take part in the overthrowing of the Ming Dynasty, China's second last dynasty. But many people believe that this was the beginning of the end for the Ming Dynasty of China. Now, it is unfortunate that this did happen, during the medieval times, so there really isn't much information to go on. And the reason why I want to bring up this topic is that I want to elaborate on something here, since we're coming up to Earth Day, which is April 22nd. I want to talk about this woke climate change agenda. Okay, everything they're saying, everything on the news, all these natural disasters, it's all bullshit. You know how they keep saying that we had the most devastating rain or monsoon season or flood season. We had the worst summer of wildfires in history. We had the most brutal winter storms in history. Well, that's all complete bullshit. I just give you one very simple example, right? And if you're looking for the deadliest blizzard throughout history, actually, if you Google that, you'll find that it actually took place in Iran back in 1972, where at least 4,000 people died during the blizzard. Okay, so 1972, that's not very recent. In fact, that's before the Islamic Revolution of Iran. And also, I'm sure many of you guys, if you've seen documentaries on the History Channel, there's a lot of talks about the year of 536. This is when humans lived for an entire year without sunlight. I have no idea how our ancestors survived throughout that year, but surely it is worse than anything we have ever seen. This is why mainstream media indoctrination and also indoctrinations in our schools is extremely dangerous. They tell you that we're running out of resources, we're running out of fossil fuels, running out of minerals. Okay, let me talk about one element. Okay, the second element on the periodic table. I'm talking about helium. Okay. Do you guys know that helium is a non-renewable resource? Okay, it is extremely limited on Earth, and it is extremely difficult to extract the helium gas. Right now, the Earth is facing a critical shortage. So why are we pumping these heliums into balloons, and why are we inhaling them to make our voices go extremely squeaky, to sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks? Why are we using them for gender reveal parties? For absolutely no reason at all. It's complete waste of money and our critical resources, okay? So if you're so concerned about climate change, okay, why don't they teach this in schools? This was never ever taught, okay? I've been living in the West for almost 20 years. This was never ever taught to me. I'll give you another example, okay? And the people keeps talking about, the global temperature is rising. They're talking about all these heat deaths, okay? That's 100% bullshit, okay? First of all, right now I live in Ottawa, the capital of Canada. The winters are extremely brutal. Also, I'm from the northern part of China, okay? I lived in the northern 3 provinces. The winters are just brutal as any Canadian winter. And you want to know something interesting? Okay, over 90% of the temperature-related deaths, over 90% of them are actually due to extreme cold. Okay, humans can adapt to extreme heat much better versus extreme cold. That's why during in the winter, many Canadians they call them snowbirds. They go to places like Mexico, they go to Costa Rica, maybe go to Brazil or Panama. You never see any of those people from those countries come to Canada for the winter or fly to northern China or go to remote Siberia. Okay, so this entire narrative is 100% bullshit. Okay, because over 90% of the time it's the hypothermia that kills people. It's not due to extreme heat exhaustion. You watch the Titanic, right? You know, when things get cold, everything goes to shit for the human body. We can adapt to the warmth 10 times better. And also in regards to these natural disasters, the death tolls, right? Yeah, sure, you know, we have devastating floods that happen once in a while. We have devastating storms. Sometimes you see 50, 100, sometimes even 200, 300 people get killed. It is very unfortunate. But thanks to our technological advancements, okay, thanks to all the improvements, all the inventions, all the mitigations, all the controls we have put in place in the past 100 years, you know, so the human death toll from natural disasters, okay, just in the past 100 years has dropped by over 99%. Okay, you can do the research on it. Don't believe anything that the mainstream media is telling you because they're 100% full of shit. They're pushing a Marxist socialist agenda. They want to destroy our society. And since Earth Day is coming up, and there's something very interesting about climate change and fossil fuels and our natural resources that's very interesting as well. And I'm going to discuss this topic in my next video. Thank you for watching until the end. See you next time.